Thank you for your patience. The webinar will start in approximately 2 minutes' time. Thank you. Good afternoon. The webinar will start in approximately 1 minute time. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just do a little bit of an introduction and then we'll get through the presentation. So my name is Andy Laurie. I am the EMEA Pre-Sales Manager for Quest Data Protection Solutions. Quest, being the software company, has been around for quite a while, and one of the business units is the data protection. And today we are going to talk about Quest's QoreStor solution. Just a little bit of housekeeping before. Everybody is muted, and there is a functionality to chat through the presentation. If you right click on my name, you'll see chat, and you can ask as many questions throughout the presentation, and at the end I will do my best to answer them. I will also open up the lines if anybody wants to ask any verbal questions as well. But thank you very much for joining me today, and like I said, we're going to talk about Quest QoreStor. So a good place to start would be to explain what QoreStor is. So QoreStor is a software defined storage solution. And what do we mean by that? So QoreStor is a software that can be installed on pretty much anything, be it physical, virtual, or up in the cloud. It then turns that system into a software-defined secondary storage where you would store your backup data. And what does it actually do? So it improves the deduplication ratio that you might be getting with your software only deduplication. We have a very strong sliding block deduplication algorithm that gives you 20-to-1 deduplication. We can get or improve backup speeds of up to 20 terabytes an hour. And we do that using what we call our unique protocol accelerators. So we can really shrink that backup window and move more data around from the production site to the QoreStor solution. It is backup platform agnostic, meaning you can use it with pretty much any backup software on the marketplace. And I'll go into a bit more detail around that later on. It has some really other great features. We have encryption in flight at rest, because security is obviously one of the big concerns right now. So we can encrypt the data while moving it. We can do really clever things with remote site replication. So any remote offices that might have only a handful of servers on, we can really do some clever things with moving data across bandwidths, and it doesn't need to be a large bandwidth that you use the data. So WAN replication is very strong with the QoreStor solution here as well. We have full functionality for multi-tenancy, meaning any service providers that want to separate customers' data, and we have unique user logons. We can keep data completely separate using something what we call storage groups, which I will go into later on as well. And we have some very nice technology called Secure Connect WAN technology. One of the features within the Secure Connect is, say the bandwidth might be a little bit goes up and down, and you're replicating data from one site to the other, and you're halfway through that replication job. Most other solutions, if that happens, you have to start again. But with Quest QoreStor Secure Connect, if you are 50 or 90% done with your replication job, when the link comes back up, we will restart the job at the point of failure. So you're not wasting time with these strange bandwidth connections, and you get this nice ability to restart at the point of failure. So all in all, what does QoreStor do? It saves you money by reducing your storage and really complements your current backup solution. There's no need for rip and replacements. It's a very easily implemented solution where you can increase how much data you're backing up at one time, reduce how much storage, and really shrink that backup window and use a lot less bandwidth if you are moving data around. Like I said, it can be installed on any physical hardware manufacturer box, any virtualized platform at all, and it can install on any of the cloud platforms as well. So you can install it wherever you like, use whatever hardware or hypervisor or cloud provider that you like to use there as well. Like I said before, it is backup platform agnostic. So I've put a few of these on screen just now. So you'll see a lot of the big players like ArcServe, Commvault, Veeam, Veritas. We are certified to work with these backup solutions as well. And like I said, it's very straightforward to complement what you're currently doing. All you need to do is install QoreStor, like I said, on any platform you like. You then create the backup repository. We call it a container. And then you supply that container to your backup software, and you can start backing up to QoreStor. And then from there, you can move it up to the cloud, move it over to DR sites, so on and so forth. So what do our competitors do? They ship you a large box. So they'll ship you one of these appliances. And then after X amount of years, once that appliance becomes end of life, they'll ship you another one, and you have to rebuy the software and the hardware all over again. Quest QoreStor solution is very different. We just ship you the software. It's a perpetual license that you can use and migrate from one platform to the other, so you don't have to rebuy the software over and over again. QoreStor perpetual license, and you can move it when your hardware might go end of life, or you decide to move off of a hardware platform and maybe up to one of the cloud providers. QoreStor can transfer the license between these solutions there as well. So how does it work, and what's the sort of benefits for you? So QoreStor. Now, if you can imagine, we have a backup server on our right hand side, and then we have our QoreStor solution on the left hand side here. Now, the coloured cars and trucks represent unique data blocks. So we're going to do our first backup, and we can send our unique data blocks. As you can see, QoreStor doesn't have any data on it just now. So we're going to store that on the QoreStor solution, going to store that on the disk. And we're going to keep doing the backup and storing the unique data on the disk. Then when QoreStor does see some data that is not unique, it just marks a marker in the table and doesn't store it on disk. Hence the reason why we get the deduplication ratios. So straight away you can see we're not storing all the data on the disk, only the unique data. So everything is going across the network, and we are sending the data to the QoreStor solution. Now, when the deduplication really starts to come into play is when you start doing your second and third backup. So again, we're going to see what a second backup looks like. So as you can see, the gray block is not in the QoreStor disk, so it's going to be stored. But every other block is there. So we are going to make a note that that block has been backed up, but we're not going to store it on the disk. And that way you're reducing your storage needs for there. But you're still sending the data across the network, and that's where we get to things like bottlenecks. Because all this data is going from your production data and across the network to the QoreStor solution. So with QoreStor's unique protocol accelerators, we have something called source side deduplication. So you can see our second full backup is going again, but this time we have installed our unique protocol on either the proxy server or the backup media, so that when we go to do our second backup, we check before we send the data, and anything that's unique, we send it across the network. But anything that we already have a note of, we don't even send it across the network, meaning that the network is not being flooded with all this backup data that does not need to be sent, meaning you can do more backups in parallel. So you can send more data, more backup jobs across the network, because we are checking to see what is already on the QoreStor solution. Hence the reason why we can reduce the backup window exponentially. We can reduce how much data is sent across the network, so you can free up your network for your production needs. Before you used QoreStor and before you used the rapid acceleration protocols, your network looks like this with backup data being flooded. Once you install QoreStor and once you use this source side deduplication, the network looks like this with only unique data going across the network. So straight away, you have complemented what you're currently doing. You've reduced your storage needs, and you have a much better place for your backup solution. So let's talk about the other features for QoreStor as well. We have something called a performance tier. And what does that mean? With QoreStor, you can install QoreStor, like I've installed here, and you can start to strip out QoreStor into faster disk, and then not so fast disk. So we can have a level of SSDs right there, so you can have your really important data being sent and stored onto the SSDs, and then maybe not the less mission critical data being installed on the slower disks like that. And the data gets sent, and then it's defined on where you're going to store it. So if you need that data back really quickly, and it's really critical to you to get the data back, you can install it on the SSD layer. And then if it's not so critical, you can install it on, say, SAS disks. Now, what that also gives you the ability to do with great features with the backup software, like spinning up a virtual machine from the backup repository. Traditionally, with deduplication appliances, this was not possible because you had to rehydrate the data or store it on a non-dedupe staging area. But with QoreStor, you can actually spin these machines up from the backup storage and not lose the functionality of the deduplication. So it's a win-win scenario for the backup solution. And then we also have the ability to then move the data directly up to cloud object storage, be it Azure Blob Storage or Amazon S3 storage. So you can start to move the data off your QoreStor appliance, off your SSD disks after a certain amount of time, and up to really cost-effective cloud storage that we shall talk about in just a second. Very cost effective. You do not lose the functionality of your backup solutions recovery options, and you can start to grade your data and start to tier it on the QoreStor deduplication appliance. Very nice way to start defining each data sets and where you want to store them, but also have the ability to having the deduplication and compression that QoreStor offers you there. So like we say, this is a high-level architecture of how QoreStor would look. This is QoreStor that is installed on premise. So we have installed something on premise here, a QoreStor solution, and then we have a disaster recovery site with QoreStor installed, or we've installed it up into any of the major public cloud providers there, and then we can start to really move data from production site up into the cloud, and you get that replication, that secure connect, that encryption in flight and at rest. And that really does help save you on your bandwidth, because everything that's going from one QoreStor to another is compressed, deduplicated, and we have those great deduplication ratios so that you're not flooding your WAN link with backup data. Then you have different options here as well. You can have remote site offices replicating into one headquarters location, and then you can move it up to cloud as well, so that you can have 3 copies of your data, 2 on site and then 1 up into the cloud. All these scenarios are available with QoreStor. So the architecture of QoreStor with its performance tier, it giving you the ability to have your important data on really fast disks so you can get it back really quickly, having the ability to replicate it and send it to where you want to send it, all starts to build and complement what you're currently doing just now. And we have the ability as well to manage anything from a SaaS cloud management portal where you can manage multiple QoreStor instances from one interface, link them all together, so you're not having to log into all these different interfaces. If you have multiple sites with QoreStor, you manage them from all in the one central location that can be accessed anywhere on your mobile, your tablet, wherever you want to access it from. You can do that. So let's now talk about one of my favorite features with QoreStor, and that's the ability to move data to the cloud without having to invest in any compute processing power in the cloud. So as you can see, we have a QoreStor instance installed on site, and then we have the ability to manage the data to then push it up into really cost-effective cloud storage in Azure or Amazon. And you've got 2 ways you can do it. So you can have your backup data stored on your QoreStor solution. Again, remind you that you can have this split up into tiers on your on-premise QoreStor. And then you can create a policy where it either straight away sends that backup data up into the cloud storage, or you can then delay it and say after month 2, I want to move it from on-premise up to the cloud storage there as well, giving you the ability to move data away from site and not having to invest in tapes and tape collections, and really gaining that cost-effective cloud storage solution where you're moving data compressed and deduped, all stored in the cloud. So you're not overpaying for your cloud storage because everything is compressed and deduped before it moves out. You have your secure connect, so everything's encrypted in flight at rest. And you also have the ability to define which data you want sent up to the cloud without having to invest in CPU, memory, etc., etc. So it's a very nice way to move data cost effectively off-site, compressed and deduped. And then you get your long-term storage needs. So you get your case study here where it's maybe you're moving data and you want to keep it for years and years and years. This is a brilliant way to do that because you don't need to store it for years and years and years on your primary QoreStor box. So you can move it and sweep it up to the cloud so that you have long-term data retention at a cost-effective solution. Then you have the ability to read back. So say you might be worrying about having to recover data from the cloud and the costs that might incur. With QoreStor, we uniquely restore from on-premise first. If those blocks are on-premise, we will never go to the cloud to restore them, meaning that you have a very cost-effective way of restoring data as well. So it really does help complement the solution. And with the QoreStor, I mentioned before about the licensing model. So QoreStor here comes as an all-inclusive license, which is a little bit different to the competitors as well. And along with that license, so you get all your replication, your deduplication, your SaaS management portal, your Secure Connect technology, all that comes as part of the license. But we also do give you as well 3 times Azure. So if you bought 100 terabytes of on-premise QoreStor license, you could store up to 300 terabytes of deduped and compressed data. That's not hydrated data. 300 terabytes of compressed and deduped data up into the public cloud. So it's very cost effective and no hidden licensing costs there at all. And that is the QoreStor solution. A very high level overview of it. What we're going to do now is stop, and I'm just going to check to see if there's any questions before I go into the QoreStor solution to show you the interface and some of the features within that. So I'm just going to check to see if there's any solutions. You have the ability now to unmute your line and ask any questions or put them into the chat box. Fantastic. Okay, no questions just now. So let me just go into the QoreStor actual interface just now. So this is me, got my predefined QoreStor interface. This is a landing page here of the dashboard. As you can see, it gives some very nice readings here. You can see the first thing I'm looking at is how much physical capacity have I got. So I've got 24 terabytes of physical capacity. I've used round about 15 terabytes, and I've got round about 150 terabytes of data on my QoreStor solution. So that gives me a savings of about 90%. So I don't need 150 terabytes of disk. I only need around about 15 terabytes of disk to store all that data on. So straight away you can see the great deduplication ratios coming into play. And with the backup data here, you get some really nice throughputs from read and write. So you can see if there's any bottlenecks, and you can see the actual speed of the actual backup data there as well. Now, what you're going to do now is go in and say, okay, I've installed QoreStor. How do I then start to use QoreStor? And we use something called containers, and we can have multiple different containers set up. So you can even have multiple different backup solutions backing up to the one QoreStor solution. So you could create, say, a NetVault a container. You could create a Veeam container, and you can have them all backing up, and the deduplication would happen across the multiple containers. You can see something here called the storage groups as well. Now the storage group is very nice solution for our managed service providers. So say you were having servicing multiple different end users, and they all want to keep their data away from each other. You can do that with QoreStor by creating storage groups, and in each storage group you can create containers under that storage group, so you can keep people's data nice and secure away from each other. You can create different users as you're in here, so they give different users different privileges as to what they can do with the QoreStor solution as well. So for service providers, very handy feature there. But to create a container, it's very straightforward. All I need to do is create that container name. So I'm just going to call it Quest Demo. I'm going to define which storage group I want to create it under. So if I had customer A, B, C, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to decide which protocol accelerator I'm going to use. So Quest has its own unique one called RDA. We have the Veritas OST, but for all other solutions like Veeam, Commvault, all the other solutions there, we have something called Rapid CIFS and Rapid NFS. And to do this, you actually need to then go and install our Rapid Accelerator on the current backup solution, but it's very lightweight, installation, and then that gives you that source side deduplication functionality. Once you've decided on what protocol, you can then start to decide how the data is going to be written, and then you can create access from clients and so on and so forth, and then you can just click next, and that is you created your container where you then go and give that CIF share to your backup solution, and it's as easy as that to then start backing up to QoreStor. Very straightforward. Like I say, there's no heavy forklift truck installation. You basically install QoreStor, create your container, and then give that container address to your backup solution, and data can start being sent to QoreStor, and all the great features I've just gone over there for your deduplication, your source side deduplication, your encryption, in-flight and at rest, your secure connect, all of that is already set up, and you can go ahead and start using QoreStor straight away without disrupting your current backup solution. So that's how easy it is to create the containers. And then you can start doing things like cloud tiering. So you can join it to either Azure or Amazon. You just need to get the string from the Amazon or Azure storage container, and you give it to QoreStor, and then you can start defining policies of when you want to move the data up, how long you want to keep it for, all these great things, so you can start moving data up to more cost-effective solution, and it's all very straightforward and simple to set up. Replication as well, you just add where you have your other QoreStor solution. So if you wanted to replicate between remote offices, you just link them up together, and the replication is done via containers. So you can control what is replicated. You can pick and choose what is replicated between sites. You can control that at the container level there. So very straightforward to go and set up the replication between QoreStor solutions. And if you do have more than one QoreStor solution, you want to register them on our global view management portal so that you can manage them all from one place. Because I am just in one QoreStor solution, but if you had 3, 4, 5 different solutions, you don't want to have to go into each one to manage them. You can manage them from our global view there as well. I said before, you can create different users with different access in here, so that you can control what people can do within the QoreStor solution as well. And you can have some general system information about the memory usage, the disk, CPU, and all these types of stuff, and the network interfaces, and all these great features within the QoreStor solution. So like I said, it's a very straightforward and simplistic way to complement your current backup solution, to save you money using the deduplication, to save and give it the added features like the source side deduplication, reducing that bandwidth and reducing that backup window as well. Now, I'm going to stop there and ask if there's any other questions just now. Take that as a no, but you can unmute your line as well. I've got a couple more things to show you. One is the QoreStor sizing tool, which is available online, which basically lets you work out how much data or disk space you're going to save. You put some data into here, so you can say you're going to put 10 terabytes of virtual machines. You define how long you're going to store them for. So I'm going to go and store them for 12 weeks, 8 months, and 3 years. I'm going to pick up which solution. I'll pick Veeam, for instance, and I'm going to pick 10% growth. So I'm going to have a 3 years solution, and then you just go to the report, and it will tell you in the report here, you will have 254 terabytes of data backed up using that retention policy, and you will only need a 15 terabyte QoreStor. So you can straight away see how much QoreStor is saving you on disk. And it gives you an idea of the spec of the machine here. As you can see, not too high a spec, 16 gig of RAM, 8 core CPU. So a fantastic way to work out how much QoreStor license you need, and how much QoreStor specifications you need for the actual solution there as well. And you can do I quickly did it, but you can do clever things like define how many sites you have. So if you're replicating, and you can do all these server things, and you can save the file, and you can have a full report on how much QoreStor you see as well. Last thing I'm going to show, and do realize I'm just gone over time there, is we have the ability to easily trial our software. We have these virtual machines pre-built for Hyper-V and VMware, where you can just download them and attach them to your hypervisor and start off the QoreStor trial straight away. Very straightforward and simple deployment. Or you can build your own machine and download the QoreStor solution and install it on whatever you want to install it on. So you can do all these different options for the trials as well. And underneath, you've got your plugins for NFS, CIFS, and OST as well. And that is the QoreStor solution. I hope you have enjoyed listening to me speak for the last 30 minutes. And as we have gone a bit over, I will open up the lines for any questions. So any questions, anybody on the line? I'll just leave it open for a minute. Fantastic, guys. Again, I do appreciate you giving up your time, and I hope everybody stays safe in these troubling times. Thank you again for attending. Thank you.